My real name, my legal name is Banda Bahadur Singh Sandu. It's crazy. That's on the passport.
I was going to say, for those of you who don't know, Bobby is one of the best guys at Back Stranglers in the whole world. And some of the highest level guys have said this on record.
What and how did you get into jiu-jitsu?
An older kid, he took mine to start off. The meme was like, time is the most precious thing you have.
Yeah.
Jeri kari nangi, dwara nahi aandi.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like we were saying, it makes weak people strong. You know,
Yeah.
it makes timid people confident.
Yeah.
And I said sparrows into hawks.
Yeah.
And we're already from Sikhi. We understand that. We understand that something like comedy has nothing to do with anything physical.
Yeah.
But I'm confident to stand on a stage and talk because I'm like, I'd probably choke all these people. Nanak dukhiya sab sansar. There's no way to escape dukh. There's no way to escape it.
I think like doing jiu-jitsu is like doing meditation. When you're in the role, you're in this flow state where you're not thinking about anything, but you're in that present.
Yeah.
And I put my earphones in, and there's a geet of Hari Singh Naruwa. And he goes, if your fingers come anywhere near my eyes, I'm gonna break you. The best weapon is the one that's in hand when you need it. Guys, subscribe to the Sikh Warrior Project if you want to see more content like this. Like, follow the page.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Guys, welcome back to the Sikh Warrior Project podcast. We've got a special guest today, Bobby Sandhu. He's from Australia, but he's all around the world at the moment, you know, doing jiu-jitsu. So Bobby Sandhu, please introduce yourself, and please also tell everyone what your real name is. Because
My real name, my legal name is Banda Bahadur Singh Sandu.
it's crazy.
That's on the passport. And I've been doing jiu-jitsu the last 10 years, almost 11 years.
Yeah.
And the last 7 have been pretty much full-time, pretty much every day with good guys, high-level coaches. Obviously, during COVID, we had some issues that I don't know how it was here in Australia. They made different classes of athletes, so some people could still continue training, but eventually they ended all that stuff as well. And I've been doing stand-up comedy the last few years as well.
That's so sick. That's
low level white belt stuff.
Nice, man, nice. I suppose as at the start of jiu-jitsu, like what specifically got you into it? Of course, being in Australia, being from, of course, an ethnic background, you know, what and how did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Okay. So I wore the start every day of high school, and I was like 13 or 14 years old, and an older kid, he took mine to start off. And I still remember, like, for a long time after it even, I couldn't talk about it. Without like choking up. Like it was real. I ran, I picked it up, put it on my head. I was talking to a teacher when this happened. Yeah. Older kid. He was a bit of a retard. He was you know, one of the special kids.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even quite, you know. Like, but anyway, I went into the bar. I remember I was crying. I was like, oh. And then I was like, I gotta get my brother. You know, I was sitting in the sick bay. I was like, I gotta, you know, saying I was listening a lot of like Jaguar music and that. And then I YouTube top 10 deadliest martial arts.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu was number 7.
Oh wow.
Number 1 was ninjutsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
My dad's on jiu-jitsu.
So when I got to 14, I rang a ninjutsu school like 30 minutes away. I was like, I gotta learn this, please. And they're like, it's too deadly. You kill all the other kids. I was like, fuck. Cut back.
It's just fucking nowhere. It's like,
So what do I do? I caught the wrong bus. I got lost one day. I got on the wrong bus. And when I was on this wrong bus, this bunda, I went past this big banner, and it said MMA, BJJ, kickboxing, boxing, wrestling. And I was like, what is this MMA stuff? And I did some searches online. And I was like, look, until I'm ready to do the real ninjutsu, I'll do this pussy MMA stuff. And then I'll probably have all these bad habits, but the ninjas will fix it up in the end. And that was my plan.
Yeah. Wow, sick, man. So when did you know that that's it? I'm gonna start competing in this.
Well, day one, I remember one of the things we did. I was paired up with this Kuri. She was a brown chick too, but she wasn't Punjabi. And I was on my back, and I had like a pad, a kick shield pad on my. And the other person was just doing ground and pound, like fucking hammer fist. And I remember that shit because I had done no sports up until age 15.
Okay.
I remember just thinking, I'm like, the guy said to my mum, he goes, if you sign up for more than once a week, you get this. And I was like, who's gonna do this more than once a week? I was like, who does this once a week? I was like, this shit's crazy. I was staring up at the lights. I'm fucked up. So I didn't expect to
Yeah.
to get very serious with it.
Okay.
But it was just one of those things that I realized when I was at school, when I was working in my parents' shop, I would always look at the clock and wish for the time to go away.
Yeah.
And then I saw a meme one day.
Yeah.
And it was a banda and it had like a bubble over. He said, I want the time to go away. And then the meme was like, time is the most precious thing you have.
Yeah.
Jeri kari nangi, dwara nahi aundi.
Yes.
And I was like, I can't be wishing that. That's my most precious resource.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do I do when I'm not looking at the clock, when I'm shocked
Yeah.
that the time's passed?
Yeah.
And the only thing in my life was training.
Yes.
That was the only thing I did.
Wow.
And I was like, at that point in time, and even in retrospect now, I feel like for me to have had the most interesting life, I picked those decisions.
Yeah.
I made those decisions so that I could have the most interesting life possible.
Wow.
And just eventually, yeah, I mean, there was some hiccup. Like I told you, I had that fake Russian Sambo coach
Yeah.
with an eye patch. Bro, every part of this guy's story, he told me he was like number 21 in the world.
Oh,
Yeah,
He said he was winning
tell us
half
a bit about that. How did you?
His
fall
name was
into-
Lenny.
Yeah.
I had a real striking coach. And you wouldn't be able to tell from watching me strike, but I did have a real striking coach. And then this Lenny fella walked in, and he had an eye patch on, and he was teaching essentially like judo. He was calling it sambo. He had all these lies about winning tournaments and
Yeah.
placing in Russia. And
Yeah.
I remember once I did jiu-jitsu with him, and it was like full Hanato Laranja where I locked up a choke on him, and I was so bad.
Mm.
And he would like coach me through it, and like he would do all of the.
Yeah.
But I do remember, despite him being a fraud.
Hmm.
Even when I was sick and it was raining and all I had was my push bike, I push biked up hills to get to training because I just believed that my fucking coach was Khabib's dad or something. That's just what I'm.
Sent for the mountains of
That's the
Dagestan.
power. It's like the story of Tanna Pakt.
Oh, wow.
If your devotion
Yeah.
to something is true enough,
Wow.
bro, that breaks all things.
Wow.
So if I had continued after that, I remember Craig said to me once. He goes, "I'm whinging, I'm crying." I'm like, "I'm not getting any better." And he goes, "Yeah." Tomorrow 7 a.m. and I didn't rock up. And that's Craig Jones, you know? But once there was a time when Lenny, the fake Russian with the one eye, was like, get that. I was like, yes. It's just, it's amazing. It's
Wow.
amazing.
So
But slowly we discovered it because
Yeah.
someone looked up his medical records and he told everyone he got glassed in a bouncing, he was a security guard. Turns out he was just in a car. It was all big
yeah.
thing of lies.
Just
you
trying
know,
shit.
done.
Just trying shit. Yeah.
But then I found Lachlan Giles at so at age 17, Craig had his first big wins. And
Okay.
in my mind, I was like, whoa, this guy training in Australia is world class in jiu-jitsu.
This is when he was 17.
No, I was
When you
17.
were 17, yeah.
This is in 2017.
Yeah.
He at that time, I don't know what his age is, but he's just like first Australian ever to go out there ADCC, submit like 3 people.
Yeah.
So I thought, and he didn't even medal, but I thought, okay, this means I can get very good
Hmm.
just training jiu-jitsu in Australia if I take it very seriously.
Hmm.
So I met Craig and I said, look, how do I become you?
Hmm.
He
Wow.
said, well, come to Melbourne. That's what he said to me.
Hmm.
So then I did the process of going to Lachlan Giles' gym. And
Hmm.
I remember the first time I went there, I had another Punjabi friend. His name's Anoop.
Okay.
And Anoop and I'm 17 and Anoop's my age, maybe a bit older. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to go to Melbourne tomorrow. And he's like, yeah. But for some reason, we decided to leave at like 8 p.m.
Hmm.
Like we didn't realize we should sleep and go, you know? So we're driving all throughout the night and Anoop's just sleeping, you know? He's like real dal roti kind of guy and then real tired. He's not a lot of protein in his diet. He's just gone. I drive. Bro, you know, you look at someone, you're like, bro, you need to like get on a barbell program. Like, some fuck, you know? So we get to Mel. I remember I couldn't stay up. So to stay up, we get these gulia. It's caffeine pills, no dose.
Thank God they'll get people.
I'll be like, you know, the first part of the Warrior Project.
Strike one.
So I had this. It was like, that's the way you've got to think of it. Like one pill is 100 megs equivalent to a coffee. So I pop like 5. I was going nuts on these because I had to stay up the whole night.
Hmm.
And by the time I get to the gym, I almost got the runs.
Oh god.
So I remember I ran into the gym. First thing I go to the toilet, I attack that thing and demolish it. And then I come out and then I start just shooting up triangles on people.
Bro, if someone took a shit and then started shooting up triangles on me, and I knew they
I'll
just
start
took a
throwing
shit.
hands. I'll start throwing hands at that point.
But hopefully, I think back then it was gi. You got some added layers.
Yeah, so that's
Anyway. So I remember I was triangling people. What did Craig? I don't know. I don't remember the exact technique he taught. I think it might have been like float passing from headquarters. I don't have a memory, but they say that's one of Gordon's attributes. Like having good memory is very good for jiu-jitsu. But I do remember him saying that
I'm done.
from like an AOJ traditional IBJJF perspective, like the first score means everything. So basically, he could just say he just believed like you should just practice guard tension, sweep, submit, pass rounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you get passed, it's pretty much over. And then obviously, if you can sweep the guy and get on top. So passing is massive. Obviously, I think way easier to submit somebody than pass somebody's guard, especially in the gi.
Wow.
So I remember Craig saw me like triangling some people.
Yeah.
And then Ben Hodgkinson, who was another, he had a match with Gordon Ryan. He was another one of them early Australian guys start popping up. He said to me, hey, come back. It was 6 a.m. class. He said, come back at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
We do an 80cc class. So I went back to my hotel room, slept 2 or 3 hours, come back at 10 a.m. And this is when I meet Lachlan Giles for the first time. I'm walking into the gym, and Lachlan says to me, I say, hello, Lachlan, I'm Bobby. He goes, oh, hey. He goes, is this your first time? And he meant, is it your first time doing jiu-jitsu? I thought he's asking me, is this my first time at the gym? So I say, yes, it is. And he says, he goes, this class isn't for you. And I haven't slept all night. And I'm like, this class is, And Craig was sitting off to the side, and he understood that there was a misunderstanding. And he just said, he goes, no, he says to Lachlan, he's good.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Wow.
But he just meant he's good enough to do the class. I
Yeah,
thought he
oh,
was so.
Right, yeah. He's the guy.
Stamp of, you know what I mean? Hilarious.
Wow.
So obviously you mentioned Craig Jones. So like, what it sounds like almost as if he was your mentor
Definitely.
from the start onwards. So
Yeah.
what's it like? Obviously Craig Jones, for those who don't know, the biggest names right now in jiu-jitsu would be Craig Jones, Gordon Ryan, John Danaher, all these
Yeah.
massive names, and he was your mentor. So what was that like having him as your mentor?
Look, it's very valuable. It's also just you can hear the right thing, but who you hear it from also matters. Because you see that with parents. When I travel around, especially, people like, hey, this is the same. What you said is what I say to this guy every day, but it just doesn't hit the same. I know this James Smith guy. He's like
He's a podcaster as well, right?
podcaster. He
Yeah.
does jiu-jitsu. He would say something the most basic thing to me: eat your body weight in protein. I've heard it from everyone else. Because he's got 1 million followers, it hits different.
Oh yeah,
So there is all that. Plus, it's like they say this with comedy too. Like if some random bunder's teaching you comedy classes, well, if he was really good at comedy, he'd be
doing it.
knowing that.
yeah.
So Craig is that guy where he's actually done. He's one of the few people that became a professional jiu-jitsu guy. He did it from the ground up. He got into jiu-jitsu at comparatively a later age, so his words had a lot of weight. And I was just like very lucky. He was always, anytime I reached out to him, I always got a response.
Yeah.
But was there any specific match that really stood out for you when it came to like you being inspired by Craig Jones? Because I know he beat Leandro Lowe.
That was
that was huge.
That was
at the time, right?
obviously when he triangled Murillo.
Yeah,
That was
big
that was
as well.
impressive too. That just that first 80cc run.
That was a big run for him. I suppose when you mentioned, you've been doing jiu-jitsu for about 10 years or so, but you've been taking it a little bit more seriously for like the last 7 or so. What in particular was that switch for you to be like, okay, this is where I'm going to go, like full steam ahead. This is what I want to do for a career now.
I just didn't feel, I didn't want to do anything else. Like the only option I had was go to university. I just hated the last few years of school anyway, or work in the parents' shop, and I didn't want to spend my whole life in a convenience store.
Was there anything that made you think I want either money or just I want to be like happy and fulfilled in life? Was there ever that thing in your head?
I had no kind of like idea of like
Kind of like
No,
a blank
no,
canvas.
no philosophical or spiritual like for sure. Like growing up, I had been exposed to Sikhi, and I've been exposed to like some very good ideas, but I hadn't. It wasn't until age 20 when I spent a few weeks in hospital. I had a staph infection from an operation, that I was like forced to be with myself. And at that point, I was like, I totally switched my. At that point, I developed a clearer idea of what was most important, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like people think health, wealth. Or at that point, I realized I go, no. It's all about wisdom. It's about having sanap and samaj and right discernment. Like the Christians say, they're like, in the Bible, God says to King Solomon, he says, "I'll give you anything, mangala jo mangana." But we didn't speak Punjabi, but he says it to him. And King Solomon says, "Give me wisdom, God, because through wisdom I'll have all things." So I think that at that age, I realized, I'm like, okay, I had a friend when I was like 18, 19. He was a coach of mine, 29, who committed suicide. And he otherwise, he was a healthy guy, very good at martial arts. People are very wealthy, people are very famous. But if you have that kind of hole lacking in you, or you just, because you're like, what is the point of it all? That's kind of, sometimes if you're so involved in the struggle for life and survival, you don't even ponder deeper questions and whatnot. But if everything's out, if you have a lot of free time is
100%.
it's like one of the things, like a knife. It can be used for good or evil.
Definitely.
That's what you've mentioned a few times as well. Like that free time is the devil can either come in and be very, very dangerous.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
100%. They say like the best way to fight like depression is just to get busy.
Purpose.
Just get busy, just have purpose. So yeah, definitely. There's one thing you mentioned earlier about how the beauty of jiu-jitsu in the sense that it made like a young 15-year-old boy like yourself at the time who wasn't really into sports or fighting or anything. We're just into reading books. And then tell us that story. So tell us a bit more about that, 'cause that was pretty.
Yeah, it's just like we were saying. It makes weak people strong. It makes timid people confident.
Yeah.
And I said sparrows into hawks.
Yeah.
We're already from Sikhi. We understand that. We understand that. You go through certain experience. That's one. Like I want to do MMA purely because I'm like, regardless if I'm successful in MMA, having to live with the disciplines of an MMA fighter, I'm trying to do more. I'm gonna have to demand more of myself.
Definitely.
So, yeah, jiu-jitsu was that thing for me whereby even though I had no there's nothing that showed that I had any kind of talent or any potential for it, just through diligent persistence, you can get now. And that's the other thing too, like something like comedy has nothing to do with anything physical.
Yeah.
But I'm confident to stand on a stage and talk because I'm like, I could probably choke all these people. If it came down to it.
It's a good type of confidence to have.
It gives you that confidence in everything in your life, right?
Yeah.
When you have that confidence in the MMA gym, you've got it everywhere.
It's massive. And you learn like the meaning of life. If you listen to like Viktor Frankl, he's written a book, Man's Search for Meaning. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to yourself, to others, society, your parents, So you become part of this close-knit community, especially MMA gyms for young men or other young men. You realize what's valued. And if you act like a dickhead, you're gonna get called out for acting like a dickhead.
Facts. Exactly.
You learn so many valuable lessons. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like sometimes some people think it might be problematic if it's the only environment you're in.
Yeah.
But hopefully you also have a good home environment. There's no substitute for a good home environment, though people can get by if they do have another really positive environment.
Yeah.
But it can be a massively positive thing for a young person to have in their life.
I think a part of that is like having a good coach as well.
Yeah, massive.
Coach that you can look up to, someone who instills those values into you.
Yeah.
We've got that obviously at Beast Fight Team. I'm sure you've had the Lachlan Giles, probably that model for you as well, and some of your other coaches.
Definitely. Lachlan Giles, can't say enough good things about that guy. Wow. And also, like, when people just show you, if you're having a lot of, like, I think about that, having, like, when I'm traveling, meeting new people all the time, I'm forced to put my best foot forward. Sometimes you start treating your mother or your best friend a bit poorly because you just take them for granted. You're like, always going to be there, So hopefully that changes, like, the higher, like, the whatever the base level of niceness you can show people. And there's just opportunities and tons of opportunities. Just like when you go to the Gurukar, there's opportunities to do seva in ways small and large. There's opportunities for that in the gym, whether it's helping with this or helping with cleaning or teaching someone something. There's all these ways that you can give back. And
100%. Yeah, so when someone walks into the gym, right, it's like
they can feel welcome.
Exactly, sacrificing a bit of your own training
to
help them out.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Yeah.
There's a question I had in particular. So I know you mentioned you had aspirations for MMA, and that's like the goal at the moment, right? And I know training at B Team, you got, you know, killers there, like, you know, Damien as well, who's transitioning into MMA. A young kid called Jackson as well, great
he's
striker
amazing.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, and great jiu-jitsu as well, from what I've seen. So
Yeah.
I suppose that being your main hub, like, what is it that you foresee and want to become with this transition into MMA? What's the goal? What's sort of the process of trying to become that person? Like,
Yeah.
where do you see yourself in the next sort of 5
Well,
to 10 years?
I had like a very foolish idea, I think, before I came to the UK, where I just thought, I was like, look, I can grapple more or less, and potentially I could negate a lot of wrestling in top position just with my jiu-jitsu. And the biggest thing I lack is probably like striking, defense, striking. So thought I'd just really focus solely on striking, maybe training pure Muay Thai, pure boxing. But having been to like Next Gen, Paddy's Gym, Top Team, I'm like, no, MMA is its own thing, you know?
Yeah.
And even my jiu-jitsu is going to have to change a lot in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's mainly doing those same position rounds I've been doing for a long time with the gloves, with the strikes. And then obviously there's two ways to go about it, which is like, whether it's jiu-jitsu or MMA, you're either a specialist or you're more of a jack of all trades, a generalist. And there's a clear advantage. If you're a specialist, that's obviously very good. Like, you know, Bruce Lee, one kick at 10,000 times. There's all kind of reasons to just, like, one of the things Shamrock said to me, he's a guy I met, a very interesting, inspiring guy.
Next Gen, right? Yeah, he's
and I was
up
on
and
the
coming
run
as
for
well,
9
right?
years, making his UFC debut soon, like lived a
Crazy
crazy
story.
life. He said to me, he goes, Bobby, is your jiu-jitsu effective? And I was like, yes, I would say so. He goes, yes. You just have to find out how to make your jiu-jitsu effective in MMA. And that's one way to go about it.
Wow.
Another way to go about it would be what Owen O'Flanagan says about the new meta in jiu-jitsu today. He said the new meta is to get good at everything.
Yeah. That'd be nice, wouldn't
If
it?
you look at, like, you know, Achilles, right? Achilles, mighty warrior,
Yeah.
was not killed by a greater warrior than Achilles. Killed by like a simple farmer who found his Achilles heel.
Okay.
So it's like, just if you're good enough, you're not great at anything, but you're good enough everywhere, you can always find whether someone's heel or armpit or neck. You can just exploit their weakness. So instead of enforcing my strength upon you,
Yeah.
I'm the best, let's say I'm the best, whatever. Back strangler, whatever. I'm going to try to take your back, choke you. It's like, as opposed to trying to enforce my strength on you, I realized, no, you're really weak at whatever, leg kicks. So I'm going to chop your leg. I don't know.
Go on, sorry. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, so that transition into like sport jiu-jitsu now and MMA jiu-jitsu. So
Quite different.
We'll do rounds at Beast, for example, and we'll do, like, you know, sport jiu-jitsu, and then, you know, on Sundays we'll do the MMA jiu-jitsu. And it definitely, I think Mike Tyson said it as well, but, you know, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like the distance is a lot different, you know, when it comes to the jiu-jitsu aspect. Like, you have to be wary about so many different things. So how have you adapted or are adapting your jiu-jitsu, you know, at the highest level to this MMA transition?
Well, look, I'm super new to definitely training like in a more MMA context. What did I want to say? What did you ask me again? Say it again.
So I suppose the transition from sport jiu-jitsu to MMA jiu-jitsu, like, have you started to pick up certain things that you've noticed a bit differently in the MMA jiu-jitsu as a whole, as opposed to sport
I think
jiu-jitsu?
jiu-jitsu is a very, very bad base martial art.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. I think jiu-jitsu, so jiu-jitsu has no sense of urgency. There's no, like, you've got seconds on the ground.
Yeah.
The core of every other martial art is stance and motion. Jiu-jitsu doesn't have that at all, except for maybe passing the guard, where there's some stance and motion. So for those reasons, it lacks it. But like I said, you guys, jiu-jitsu is a great cradle for people who were in my position where they started out, whereby I had no physical attributes or just resilience and toughness. You know, my cousin used to grab my head, do the great Kali squeeze at me, and I'd start, but Taiji, you know, I'd just start screaming, you know. And before long, I couldn't do anything to him, but I wouldn't cry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then when I got my second stripe or something, I put that guy in a pillow. And he's like, what's going on? I think your shoulders are about to break. So, but obviously, I have spent a very disproportionate amount of time finishing submission holds. Arm bars, strangling people in the back, leg lock positions, triangles. I've probably spent way more time finishing those moves than most MMA fighters spend escaping. I probably also spent more time escaping. But there's some things, every martial art, whether it's taekwondo, boxer, whatever, has their own special abilities. But obviously, when people know that's all you're going to be doing to them, you're going to need those secondary skills,
Exactly. Yeah.
whatever that is, to try to get, obviously, maybe whether it's shoot boxing, mixing in the punches with the takedowns, putting everything together. That's one thing with Paddy. Like, he does almost no pure he does no pure jiu-jitsu. Maybe he might do it once a blue moon, maybe once a year. And he's one of the best submission artists in the UFC.
Wow.
Yeah, he puts it
So
all together really well, doesn't he?
yeah, so some people, they just, maybe you do straight box, straight anything, they're not very competitive. But
And there's not that many people like Charles Oliveira as well, innit? Obviously, Charles Oliveira is that one sort of, you know what I mean, where he can actually submit like everyone, right? But obviously, he's got a lot more tools now as well.
look, I'll be honest with you, submissions are bad.
Why?
Because submissions, it's like very like, you're all in. If it works out, good.
Yeah.
If the guy gets out, you're on the bottom. I mean, of course, you could follow up with things, but basically, just all the things that we really like come as a result of pins.
Yes.
Pins allow you to punch people, score points, etc. So look at Hamza at DPP, you know.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Like I was saying, like I've had like I was telling you guys in the car, I've had the experience of tapping someone in a minute in an MMA round. Now the guy knows exactly what I'm looking for, how I did it. That same pathway is probably blocked off.
Exactly.
Versus if I just gotten the guy to the ground and then just rode the guy,
Yeah.
mat returns, break the guy down,
Something
control
they
him.
can't stop, even if they
Yeah,
want to.
and now when we stand back up, he's more tired than me.
Yeah.
Even striking will be easier, and my strike. So that's true of all things. I think it's whether you're the grappler versus striker, whether you're the guard passer versus the guard player.
Yeah.
You can be tired,
Yeah.
but you can never be more tired than your opponent. That is unacceptable.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take, because I know even like big fighters like, Damian Maia, for example, right? He was purely sport jiu-jitsu. Like, he didn't really adapt his style at all, and he went all in, right? So I suppose for you, when it comes to this big transition into MMA, what kind of fighter do you want to become? Is it specifically going into, striking, you want to knock people out? Is it a case of you want to just, get flying arm bars off the cage, like, like Paddy or someone else like that? Like, what sort of the fighter that you aspire to be like?
Like for example, did I know that I would, let's say, respond so well to back strangles? Kind of, not really. Like maybe you could have looked at my body type and but I had to do the training. I had to expose myself. So basically, I just want to live in, like, spend as long as possible in these MMA gyms around these high level people and see what kind of skills I can develop. Maybe I am too sluggish with my hands, and I don't know, maybe there's more potential. I feel like it's hard to say now, but I'm not married to any particular. Obviously, it looks cool. Striking looks really cool.
Knocking people out looks.
But obviously, you always imagine yourself as a person knocking the guy, not the guy being knocked out, And I'm sure it hurts to get kicked in the leg and stuff. But obviously, like, it's sick to fly the banner of jiu-jitsu in MMA.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny how you mentioned that Kamzat and DDP situation, because our coach 1 week before, he was literally teaching that
Crucifix.
crucifix position.
Wow.
The week before.
Literally the week before.
It's the exact same position in MMA.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy watching that though. But that was sick. That was
But
sick.
I was going to say, for those of you who don't know, Bobby is one of the best guys at back strangles in the whole world. And some of the highest level guys have said this on record. So very lucky to have him there.
Just got gym stories, mate.
Yeah, but if you're getting the best guys in the world in back strangles, that shows
Literally.
how good you are.
The best heavyweight, literally the best heavyweight compared to right now. You could probably say second best if you want to talk about like Gordon Ryan and everything. But obviously, Bobby trains with him quite often, Nicky Rod, and he literally said, he was like, what was he saying? I can't get out of Bobby's strangles. He said you got the best strangles. Other people as well have said it. How does that make you feel that these big names are saying that Bobby Sandhu's chokes are just the best in the world?
Look, I think your friends always want to, blow you up, and
Yeah,
everyone always
big
thinks they
statements.
made Superman.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's just trying to narrow your focus.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I want to do a top-down study of jiu-jitsu. I want to know what everyone, John, Gordon, Craig, all these top guys, Constant, the Rod brothers. I want to know what all the best guys have to say about every major position, submission, transition in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me start. Like I could go down. You should start probably with defense, but I was like, I like offense.
Mm-hmm.
Offense is more sexy for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with offense, and I was like, I'll start with the back, whatever. Finishing on the back. So my line of inquiry was very small, and that was like 2 years ago. I'm still stuck on finishing on the back. But when you make your focus very small in terms of what you want to learn and be able to do, then you can see session to session, am I getting closer or not to my goal?
Okay, fair enough.
When you say something, I want to get better at jiu-jitsu, what does that mean?
Mm.
True.
But if you say, I want to get good at defending on the back, okay. I want to get good at defending on the back on the overhook side. Okay, I'm going to learn everything about that, and I'm going to be able to do that position. Then you move on, and then that incremental, small, like gradual progression, you know?
That's a good point about narrowing your focus and going deep into it.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that for beginners, or do you think that's something when you get higher up the belts, when you're more like purple belt and onwards, then narrow your focus rather than at the beginning focus on kind of everything, good at everything? Is that what you'd say?
Like I was saying to you in the car, like I think beginners should zoom out, have a more overarching macro concept, you know? A concept understood is a concept, and then applied is a game. So maintain chest to back connection, understood, that's a concept. Applied, that the guy would try to offset, get his back on the mat, get his back away from you, and you know it's a game. So in the beginning, I think it's easier to remember that when you're not super used to all these positions and things don't make sense and you're not familiar to them. But over time, when you're very good at the overarching concepts of, you know, generally I'm trying to pass a guard, play the guard, connection, base, all this maintain position. When you've got all these overarching concepts, then you can start knuckling down on very little nitty bitty specifics. Is he putting the heel on the forearm? Is he putting on the wrist? You know, but even then, like I was saying, you guys, I think it's better to be inspired by technique than to be constricted or consigned by it. You know, you shouldn't be like, this is the only way of doing things. This is it. As opposed to let that, oh, Mika Gaval is doing his arm bars like that. I'm going to start with that. But if it takes me somewhere else and I end up having success for my body type is a little bit different, that's fine. It doesn't have to be that just the way Gordon's done it is the only way to do it, you know?
Everyone's got their own unique way of
I
doing
think
things.
I think it's good, like someone like John maybe will give you like a great amount of like
Yeah.
breadth of knowledge.
Mm.
And then you should pick somebody who's probably more like your own body type,
Yeah.
who's high level,
Yeah.
to have like a more specific. Like let's say you just want to know about half guard generally. Okay, so you just learn about half guard generally. You look at Lachlan or Gord or some major. You have an overview of half guard, but then maybe someone with good flexibility goes half butterfly. Someone with poorer flexibility goes underhook half guard. Someone who's more inclined to this move goes for deep half. Someone who's more inclined for something else, you know. So then you can start to, and that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is the amount of volume of knowledge you'll never get sick of it. You'll be.
I feel like jiu-jitsu at the moment is taking like a different detour into a type of technology that wasn't found like 20 years ago, right? You look at the leg locks, you look at, you know, buggy chokes, you know, over back grips, like this stuff just wasn't around like when the inception of jiu-jitsu. So I suppose, is that what also draws you to jiu-jitsu, like the constant evolvement of it, that and I know we mentioned this in the car, but like there's never really like a wrong way to do something.
Yeah. I think it's like especially when I'm traveling, like one of the reasons I'm here is I met Owen Jones in Texas.
Oh, wow.
And he was showing me all of these techniques that people are doing out here in Europe and the UK. And that's the thing is like when you're close to a big name or a big influence, like Giles, his techniques really dominate a lot of the scene in Melbourne and around it. And there's other good gyms, AET, there's a high level gyms in that area. But obviously the techniques Giles puts out, it has an influence, a bias, even if it's not obvious and the coach isn't trying to put it in you, it comes across. But when you go far enough away, then there's different ways of thinking and different ways of doing and different influences. And that's what some of the things that Owen showed me I'd never seen before. And that's continued to be the case when I've come here, you know?
What did he show you?
He showed me when you heist up from outside Ashi and they cross their feet, you can do a toe hold on their secondary leg, almost like an A-block.
Oh, when they have their foot in the armpit.
When their feet cross their feet.
Gotcha. Oh, we'll have to see that today.
Yeah.
It shows how like intricate jiu-jitsu really is and how diverse it is, that you go to different countries and then almost like there's different accents.
Oh yeah.
There's different accents of techniques. That's crazy. It's true.
You mentioned this in the car as well, like about your sister getting into jiu-jitsu for at least a minimum of 6 months. Like,
Yes.
tell us why you wanted to make that decision.
Yeah,
or
I just
especially
think
sister.
so I knew a girl who was in a shopping center, and somebody grabbed her and dragged her a certain distance, and then thankfully that was the end of it. And as far as I understand, so he was a random stranger. And I remember when I heard this in school, thinking that if someone knows how to break some grips and whatnot, you don't want the first time someone grabs you to be the real thing. You want to have had experience to hopefully you can have some discernment, or just immediately recognize that I'm being grabbed in a way that is dangerous. So it could be something as small as that, versus like you fight, you freeze, and then someone puts you in a car and you don't even have a chance to realize actually, because it can be so confronting. And that was my thing with Ganur. I was like, look, you have to do it for about 6 months.
Yeah.
After that, whatever, I'm not going to force you.
Yeah.
But it will give you all these things. It'll even just make it clear to you, there is this imbalance in strength between the genders, between even men of different sizes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But obviously, understanding these things, this could be the most important information that you know.
Wow. It's such an interesting question that you asked that, and such an important point as well, especially in this current time. So would you say that as well then, every female, we should all encourage the females in our family to at least do 6 months of jiu-jitsu,
1,000,000%.
if not just make it a lifestyle.
I say to somebody, nobody would let their kid hit a certain age without understanding basic arithmetic.
Yeah.
They can go into a shop, they should know how much change they're going to get.
Yeah.
How are you going to let your son get to whatever, 10, 15, he can't swing a punch. He can't get up from the ground. He can't do a takedown. He doesn't know what a body lock is. You don't know what a body... Don't talk to me. You're not a human being. Just grab you, throw you on the face. You don't know what.
I'm gonna tell my nephew don't come near me until you know what body lock is.
It's crazy because from the inception of mankind, we had to know how to fight. It was surviving, right? Fighting. And now people don't even know what fighting is. So they get to 40, 15.
This is such a big part of what we're trying to encourage with the Sikh Warrior Project. Just as you said, with arithmetic being a mandatory thing,
it's a basic life skill.
the warrior side of Sikhi is essential. This is not an optional thing. They've always gone hand in hand. Sant Sipahi has always been hand in hand.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's getting revived a bit more now.
It's so mad because in Moormonte itself, we were teaching a kids club yesterday.
Wow.
And like Moormonte itself, there's so many signs in there that shows that, fighting and concepts that you apply in fighting are the exact same concepts you apply in life. Like, for example, like when you're fighting, there's fear, right? There's fear to do certain things. Obviously, Nirbo tells us straight there's no fear. And also, so no fear, and there's also no hate, right? So no hate. Like, if you're sparring someone and someone, hits you and you get a bit annoyed at them, like you shouldn't be angry because you're learning from each other. And in the gym, that's where you learn, right?
Wow.
And it's also like Karta Purak. So it's the creator is doing everything at the same time. So the person we're fighting, then literally God is within everyone.
Wow.
As well. So it's all this one interconnected thing. And you got to understand that when you are fighting, you are only fighting for a reason. So for like training, understanding why you're training and making sure that you're not letting training go to your ego, it's Bonnie explains this all to us.
You guys were talking about in the car, you knew Baidu guys saying,
Yeah.
one of the things I learned from him, and the gym is a great environment to try to practice these values, is Sat Santoch Dea Taram Kima. You hear a lot about the Banchor, but the virtues, so much of like mental health is focused on just dealing with mental illness, depression, anxiety, whatever. We really talk about like mental performance. If we're trying to end depression, what are we trying to replace it with? What's like mental enhancement?
Point.
Yeah. That's facts. It's like another point is like dopamine, right? A lot of people don't actually realize that everything that you're looking for is dopamine.
Yeah.
Right? Everything you look for in your life, the reason why you're spending money on crazy things is dopamine. So like the most like the cheapest form and the best value of dopamine is training, sleeping.
Wow.
And like and all these things, but you're spending it to get these short-term things that aren't actually are naturally long term going to be better for us, better for our families, and all these things. So
I say to people, go on.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, even just chilling with your boys after training.
Yeah,
Like that's one of the best dopamine
the best
you
part.
can get. You know what I mean?
million.
And that's free of charge.
and the conversations you get in those environments of people that just want to keep bettering themselves.
Well,
You know, like you're saying that the best tactic or something in fighting is being good everywhere. You apply that to life. You just want to be good everywhere. You don't want to leave
Yeah.
any sort of any stone unturned.
On that being good everywhere point, like this is something I was talking to the Sings about a few years ago. This is how the Khalsa should be. They should be good at everything.
mm,
They shouldn't be like they can do everything. The Khalsa, the Guru's army,
Yeah.
they should be able to do everything.
yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to be the best at everything. Just dabble in a lot of stuff, get good at it to a proficient level. Then you can go deep into certain things.
Yeah, especially
You could be expert in
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
So John said like, for a man, it doesn't matter what you look like, who your family is, your
Well-
caste, color, creed. It's what you know and what you can do. It's about knowledge, skill. You should
Yeah.
spend your time accruing knowledge and skill. My mom was on the phone to some relative, somewhere in India or something, and I came up behind her, bang mandible. And best in the world, you know what I mean?
Mom is the best in the world here.
And I think I cranked it a bit. She lost it. You know when you look at someone, like you're playing around, your cousin gets serious and he has to start swinging. And she's like chilling. She's like, the family's like, they're going to think you're an idiot. And I was like, fuck, I gotta like comedy, like flip this. And I was like, mom. I was like, do you know? People invite me to podcasts. They fly me around the world. They put me in hotels.
Yeah.
Just so I can do this. They pay me cash. GBP, just for me to do it. You just don't value me. You're not fucking.
They don't understand how much of a big deal this is.
hilarious.
The people are talking about this.
Yeah.
Ask Nitro. Go on.
Yeah, we gotta clip that. Send it.
That's crazy.
That's hilarious. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
It's so good to have a Apana, Apana Punjabi representing on the big stage in Jiu-Jitsu, man. People talking about you. It's so sick. And you're only 25, so it's only
Look,
gonna be
I remember, like, when I was working security, 18, 19, just training full time, messaging Munch, messaging Kiru, messaging a lot of the boys that I know now, and even talking to people around the world here in the UK. Like, we're bringing each other up. We're all inspiring each other. It's really awesome.
wicked.
How did you first make those connections within the Sikh community? Because I suppose in Australia, like, was there a big, plethora of, Sikh Punjabi guys doing jiu-jitsu? I know you mentioned it wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
So how did you make those connections all across the world?
So I obviously I got an Instagram. I started posting things from around 18, like the last 6-7 years. But I did I would go to kabaddi tournaments, but there wasn't much in martial arts. There wasn't too much of interest in martial arts. And then I did an interview for SBS Punjabi, which is like a Punjabi, like a radio media channel kind of thing. But nothing major came of it until I started coming out here quite recently. And that's when a lot of the people I had conversations with, they were like, okay. Because I think a lot of us now in Australia, we're looking at what you guys have been able to do here or what the things have done in Canada. And we're like, you know what? There's enough of us interested. We should be able to do something.
Yeah.
100%.
And you're trying to lead that movement, I suppose?
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's massive.
Because I feel like that's what we all want. If we who of us wouldn't like to be able to go travel and meet a bunch of other people who have a like-minded that want to do the same things.
Yeah.
Do things in Punjab. Like,
Yeah. Definitely. It's like everyone here is helping people from Punjab as well. Like you're telling us about Ajay Deep. Came to Australia.
Yeah.
And obviously you support each other. You support
Definitely.
him. And obviously Yadwinder is saying, "Oh, look after our brother." And that's it. Like, now if someone comes to Australia, they're gonna get taken care of.
Yes.
And obviously you've come here. You're saying Pav and Kiru, looking after you, and that's just such a beautiful thing.
And even with all of you guys, like Pav, Kira, yourself, like you've chosen probably one of the hardest careers to go down,
Yeah.
right?
So
Like
easy.
it must be so hard on the body, the mind, all of it. I suppose how, in your perspective, does the belief in Sikhi help you try and get through those tough times?
I was saying this to Kiru actually. The when we learn about the Shote Sahibzade, and
Wow.
Wazir Khan says, he goes, "What if I let you guys go? What will you do?" And the Sabs, they say, well, we'll go, we'll gather more weapons, men, horses, we'll come back, we'll, you know. And I love that of it because, like, regardless of the setback,
Exactly.
even when you're captured, even when
Wow.
like, it's just
Wow.
whatever I can do, wherever I am with whatever I have, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're blind and you're just biting the guy, hey, you're in the fight, you're still doing something.
Wow.
So I think it's a good. And at the end of the day, look, it's all how you understand things, because you sacrifice some things, but like we said, this is a beautiful lifestyle. This is no matter what you do. If I'm here right now with you guys, I'm not somewhere else doing something else. So everything is just sacrifice. I don't think it's, you know, especially if you've got a good family, you still, as long as you're healthy, bro, your family is healthy.
But I mean, there
Don't
must
live in
be
the West.
there must be loads of times where like you must have considered, you know what, man, I'm just getting beaten up so badly here.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god, this is just, you know, so tough to do. Why am I doing this?
Well, like I was saying to you in the beginning, it was better when my family didn't support it. Because I would, you know, I'd have 6 hours of school, 2 hours of tuition. I'm like, do I want to drive another 2 hours just to get destroyed, you know? And
yeah.
I'd ring my mom and she'd be like, don't go this.
we all get that, don't we?
Now I'm definitely going. You know what I mean? So it was that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have to say to like people who do have kids
Yeah.
and their kids want to get into martial arts? What would you say to them? What advice would you give?
Look, I would say definitely like pick up your juttis, threaten them, don't let them do it, you know? Yeah. Don't be like, because here's the thing.
Because they're always
If-
gonna do what
Well, no,
they're told not to do.
if they can't even deal with your negativity in how are they going to deal with everything else that comes with it? So you provide the first little piece of resistance, the weights training. If they can overcome you, bang, they'll be able to overcome other things. So,
Wow.
so there's nothing wrong. I totally understand the concerns parents have with getting an education. What's going to happen? This is a difficult thing, no doubt about it. Yeah.
That's funny. So parents should say, "Don't train, do drugs." And then the kids are gonna do. Then they're gonna do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Complete opposite.
Like a man's will is so powerful. Nietzsche said, he goes, a man with a strong enough why can handle any how, you know? You look at Bhagat Singh, they tried so hard, but you can't suppress a man's will. Look, the Viet Cong, right? They had on paper against the Americans, they were losing in every area. These guys dug holes, put spikes in there, and still won the battle, you know? So man's will can't be broken, but neither can you insert a will. When ISIS came up, all these super highly trained, you know, Iraqi soldiers, they just threw their weapons down. They're like, we don't want to be any part of this. So you can't break a man's will, nor can you insert a will in another man's heart.
Yeah. Wow.
That's interesting that you mentioned Nietzsche, and especially like the reason for a man and the why. What's your why for doing all of this?
I don't want to work. I'm lazy. I don't work a regular job. Do hard things.
That's a beautiful answer.
But some would say that martial arts is the hardest thing.
Yeah,
Because you're putting yourself through like pain and suffering, especially at the beginning. Your white belt days, you know how it is.
But
You
you
get
have
smashed.
to. Like my parents said that, like Bobby, like you could live a comfortable life, and I love living with them and going back eating home cooked meals and stuff. But I'm like, you know, Mom, you cannot like Nanak dukhiya sab sansar. There's no way to escape dukh. There's no way to escape it. Better you subject it to yourself on your own terms.
Wow.
Wow, I like that.
Crazy.
I
Man.
like
You just sit at home on the bed or stationary, brother. I'm telling you, some kind of illness is coming.
That is
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
point.
yeah.
I'd rather take the pain in the
It's like
jiu-jitsu
you're gonna fight me, right? You could attack me anytime, or I say to you, look, I'm gonna fight you at this place at this time. Da, da, da. At least I can control some of the variables.
Yeah. Is that choose your hard, right?
Choose your heart.
Choose your heart.
Do you want that long term hard? Do you want that short term?
Sandip says that as well.
Even like other great Sant Mahatma, you know, like Mahatma Buddha says, he goes, you're born, your mother's in terrible agony, you're crying, you know? Every day you're separated from things that you like, right? And you have to come into contact with things that you don't like. Even when something is really great, like I've met you guys, we're getting along great, we're gonna have to part. Everything has its cycle of beginning, going, and ending.
It's all fun now. It's not gonna be fun in a few hours. But
We're getting leg locks and Z locks. It's gonna be great times.
But I feel like that's also a good way to know if you're wondering if something's a good or bad decision. I feel like what characterizes all good decisions is the long term they're better, short term they suck.
yeah. If you're not
And
enjoying
everything
it,
that's
it's a-
short term great, but long term bad for you, is probably not the best decision. ever.
We all have our vices, right? We all have things that we indulge in, or maybe even if it's just scrolling through TikTok. I know Harvey's mentioned eating crisps was a big one.
I always say that as an example. That's my
It's-
weakest.
Is
Although it may not be the biggest vice, also I've had a lot worse vices in the past. I'm not as good, but I've tackled. But eating crisps is probably one
Yeah.
vice that
So-
still I don't need to do it.
It's like, how do you get over that vice, or what are the steps that you take to control that vice? Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's always a big part of trying to succeed, right? Like controlling parts of yourself that enable you to succeed. So I suppose for yourself, how have you tried
I'm
to?
the wrong guy to be asking. but I think understanding it more. Like, for example, like, why do we feel all these things that are, like, we know have negative impacts? You know, lust, anger, greed, all these things. Well, from an evolutionary point of view, you know, the guy who was the biggest, baddest, toughest, most aggressive guy, people would have watched their behavior around him. Probably wouldn't stole any resources and stuff. Obviously, we know there's positive ways to use lust and whatnot in a marriage and whatnot. So I think it's trying to understand that and then realize, like, a lot of behavior comes from the people and places you frequent. You know, if you can try to monitor that to some degree,
Your environment a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
What you guys are just talking about is like Sikhi and Sangat gives you all of this. The Sikhi will instill those virtues you were talking about earlier. Having those virtues, you can combat those, those vices. And having Sangat, being around the right people, that's what the Guru is telling us. Being around those people who are like-minded and going towards the same sort of goal, essentially.
Wow, I understand. And obviously, the similar aspect is so important as well because then you can start being. Because when you become a good person and you're around the right people, you'll be like, oh, I'm a good person, and that's gonna take you straight back down again because you're holding pride in being a good person over a bad person.
Ramdas, the American guy, said that. He goes, "You think you're enlightened? Go spend a week with your family."
Why?
Yeah, explain it.
It's like so many people.
Because they'll get frustrated.
They'll flare up,
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
arguments,
yeah.
all kinds
Yeah.
of things.
Okay.
Very difficult
That's so true.
for people to have like real composure. It's very easy to be
Outside.
very enlightened
Yeah.
in it, you know.
Yeah, because
and
you
get
have to
perfect
be.
conditions.
Otherwise, people are gonna judge
That's
you
so
for
true.
being a bad person.
And then because you're with your family 24/7, there's no point. You can only put up a thing for so long. Eventually, your true colors are gonna come out. Or
Wow.
like most patented behaviors.
Yeah, that recently is the way I've been judging myself.
Mm.
How I'm at home is that's how I contract myself spiritually.
And also, I think if your like words aren't in alignment with your actions,
Yeah.
your actions aren't in alignment with your words,
yeah.
you're gonna have that. Like you're gonna feel that. So
Okay, man. Wow.
Powerful stuff, isn't
Well, great, it's the conversation. I didn't think we were gonna have a conversation like that till later or podcast, but that's brilliant. Needed that.
the spiritual aspect of martial arts is something that I think is overlooked quite a bit, you know,
Yeah.
because I feel like, again, like we mentioned, you go through so much hardship, both mentally and physically. And I think, you know, say, for example, Habib, you know, he has Islam that he goes to for that solace. You know, people have, you know, maybe, and again, like we spoke about, their own specific why, right? I suppose in those deep, dark moments where you do question maybe, why am I doing this? What do you turn to and where do you turn to?
well, you got to do something, eh?
Is it just the
Can't
fact
do
that,
nothing.
you know,
And then it's like, what makes a baker a baker? It's his bread. He makes bread. That makes him a baker. You know? So that's it. If you're gonna be a cage fighter, your bread is a tough bread to make.
that's a tough bread
You're gonna
to
get in the
make.
cage, brother. So it's just that. It's like each thing, like your kert is your tarm in a way as well, you know? So it's like,
Have you always been on this sort of spiritual path for
like I said, at age 20, like I spent like 3 weeks in hospital and I was struggling. So I'm like 70 something kegs now. I was like 65 kegs when I started. I got down to 59 kegs on this life infection. Yeah. I found this area of like fake grass in the hospital with a bit of sun. I mean, in Australia, you get a lot more sun. And I would sit and read there. And whilst I was reading, the security guy came up to me and said, "Excuse me, this part of the area, the hospital is off limits to patients." And I looked at him and I said, "I'm dying of cancer." And he believed it because of how sickly I looked.
damn?
And during all that, that's when I started. At some point, at first I just binge watch all the Peaky Blinders.
But
then
that's
I-
a good show to binge.
Then I got into like self-help and
Yeah.
reading spiritual books and
Sick.
doing part in the hospital. slowly I was like, look, I did a joke writing course, and I started practicing like some comedy writing and whatnot. But I remember a day when my phone wouldn't charge, and I was panicking because I was like, without my phone, how am I going to entertain myself? And I realized, and I also got very into like Sam Harris, and
Yeah.
so when I came out of all that, I knew about these Buddhist centers where you could go off and do silent retreats, and I was like, I just need to spend a lot of time in solitude by myself. Yeah, just trying to figure out what it's. Cause I think a lot of people you don't really understand yourself, because when the thought comes, like light is fast, but I feel like your mind is even faster. Your mind can take you past, present, future, all at once. So just being with my mind for a long time, realizing how insane I am,
Right.
and realizing everybody else is just like me, and then the world is just a product of people's minds. You know, it's amazing how many things you can learn just by being quiet and listening to yourself.
What else, I suppose, did you learn in that solitude?
Well, I think a big part of it was just forgiveness.
Wow.
Yeah.
For yourself?
For
Or
myself, for my like people, my father, my close family, even like coach, other issue. I was like, look, it's all meaningless. Like life is so quick to hold on to like some kind of grudge, or like it's very silly. And why wait? Why wait till they're dead? Like why not do time comes and goes. If you're not there,
You've really put wisdom first. I know you mentioned beforehand, like, what is life, that the wisdom is the greatest thing that you can get. And it's so amazing at the age of 25 that, you're doing all of this stuff now and have accrued so much from it. How, I suppose, when it comes to you competing quite often and you being, on the cusp of black belt, you're a brown belt at the moment, where do you see, again, you trying to reach the pinnacle in jiu-jitsu? What's the goals for yourself when it comes to specifically jiu-jitsu orientated goals? Are there any? And
yeah.
what
Look,
others?
I'm gonna do ADCC trials in December
Wow.
in Thailand. I'd love to obviously qualify, represent Australia in the Jiu-Jitsu World Championships. Obviously, also there hasn't been another Seng in there since Masher.
Wow.
So Masher's the only one.
Big up to Cher.
Still haven't had a Punjabi person medal. So
Crazy.
there's that. I just want to do jiu-jitsu forever.
Yeah. Mate.
Every day I want to get up and go do jiu-jitsu.
That's the beauty about the sport, innit? You can do it no matter what age you're.
Yeah.
There's people with like half bodies who are doing it.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
They literally know nothing below the hips and they're doing jiu-jitsu.
Don't you think like doing jiu-jitsu is like doing meditation?
Oh,
Like when you're in the role, you're in this flow state where you're not thinking about anything, but you're in that present moment.
It's very like all these peak states, right? There's no sense of self. There's no like
Wow.
there's just a merging. There's no sense of time. There's no separation. Like when you're very self-conscious and worried about what to say next in planning, the opposite of that is like the total loss of self.
Wow. That's the whole point of life.
Yeah, lose ego.
to get rid of that duality.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's very deep. Even thinking about that now, like the conversations that spawn off just mixed martial arts, and I suppose that's what the movement stands for, like the Sikhi Warrior Project or the Sikh Warrior Project, really trying to entwine combat sports and the idea of spirituality. Like for me, even just hearing you speak now, like they're so likened in so many ways.
Honestly.
That it's like, they just merge each other, like you mentioned, and that sense of like time when you're rolling just completely goes away. You don't care about anything else. You don't care about what your boss said. You don't care about how this person annoyed you or whatever they said annoyed you, right? It's like it's a beautiful thing, I think, for the mental as well.
Even if you're not going to do martial arts, right? What are you at your most core? It's the man and the tan. It's those two things. So the fundamental instrument by which you execute all things is your mind and your body. And whether it's physical training or meditation or doing part, if you can just maintain those things to a high level, then everything else will be easy.
Do you meditate quite often, or?
So I will listen to part, and then in between whatever I will either follow the breath or sit. Another thing I enjoy doing is a technique called metta, where you can visualize somebody. Like I could visualize my mother, and I could see her smiling, whatever, and then I just repeat phrases like, "May my mother be healthy," "May she be content," may she be free from suffering, and then generating like feelings of goodwill towards this gentleman here. You know, this gentleman here, I've only met him today. I have a neutral, I don't have a positive or negative like feelings towards him. So eventually you can you can bring that out to more and more people sitting in traffic doing. It's just good to wish people well. I think it just makes you feel better.
I think that's what Sikhi really speaks about, right?
It's about that fella.
Yeah. The idea that we are all the same thing. I
Yeah.
suppose.
Is to want the good of everyone. That is not easy. It's not easy to do that. But I think these steps that you talk about, like doing it for someone you know, then slowly you can widen that.
Well, the ultimate level of this is to do it for somebody who really abused you or did you.
Wow.
That's the ultimate level of this.
Wow.
And
That's
like
where that forgiveness comes in. That you
Yeah.
right?
And what is it? And is it appreciate the sort of guns of them, and also understanding that whatever they did do to you has helped you
Yeah.
as well, and that's God acting through them, right?
And that's the thing, like seeing happiness in other people's happiness.
Honestly.
And also when you see somebody's sorrow, obviously you don't want to become sad and double the amount of sadness in the world. But connecting with a desire to want to alleviate the suffering of the people around you, that's a very good thing.
Wow, man.
Do you ever feel the opposite insofar as, you know, someone that you may not necessarily have positive feelings for, they're doing very well in life?
Listen, I'm a very jealous, angry, lustful, like I have, you know what I mean? But here's the thing, right? You could train yourself like an alarm. When jealousy comes, try to bring about in yourself, you know, seeing happiness within other people's happiness. when anger arises, trying to combat it with its opposite.
But this is beautiful because it's exactly what Maharaj is saying to us: to control your mind.
Yes.
You take control of it.
Yes.
What was the bhakti that you really like? Conquer your mind, manjit it.
Yes, yeah,
It's a bhakti that he loves,
Manjita
and that's the essence of everything, really. If you can control that, take control of it, everything's in your hands. There,
Wow.
honestly. So I'm deep in all of that, just this wisdom.
Yeah.
It's mad because we're talking about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're speaking to a jiu-jitsu fighter,
Yeah.
but it shows how much like spirituality is involved in fighting.
Yeah.
That 90% of what we've spoken about now is Sikhi,
Wow.
spirituality.
and that's come from talking about jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
These things are intertwined. You
Yes.
cannot separate them.
Masashi said that. He goes, once you see the way broadly, you'll see in all things.
Wow. Miyamoto Masashi.
Miyamoto
Yeah.
Masashi. You know, there's a book called Peak, and it's like all these high performers, they have such, like we're talking about the macro, the same habits that'll make you a great comedian, will make you a great jiu-jitsu player, possibly a great dad or a businessman. You know, I don't know about those things, but I assume.
I'm guessing it's just about having like an empty mind and not really letting external things get to you and staying present, right? That's what I would think. The same thing applies.
Well,
to
learning how to learn, that's another thing.
learning how to
It's like, what do you respond well to, you know?
Yeah.
Like we're saying, your ability to gain new skills, gain new knowledge, build new skills.
Did you know how you particularly learn over the course of obviously you doing jiu-jitsu? Like, do you learn a lot more visually? Do you learn by looking at, you know, specific steps written
I
out?
really like when people hit moves on me.
Okay, so feeling that specific move.
Yes, because then it also like makes me think, oh, okay, this is real, you know. It makes me really trust.
It makes you respect it as well.
Yeah. And also like me learning that move might help me patch up that hole pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because that's a hole in the wall. Like that needs to be dealt with quick. Because
Yeah.
obviously someone else could exploit that same area.
Yeah.
And how
How
do
do you put a hole in?
how do you deal with that specific hole?
Well, the better you understand the problem, the better hope you have of fixing it. If you can accurately diagnose an illness, and you can prescribe like a very good cure to it. Otherwise, we're just, you know, rumbling around in the dark. We've got no idea.
Yeah.
Like some people, if you just rock up to training, I mean, it depends because there's so many more variables that go into it.
Yeah.
But assume you've got no real thing in mind that you're working on. I'm trying to work on my jab. I'm trying to work on my foot. Then it's like playing basketball, and there's no hoop, and there's no ball, and you know what I mean? It's no real.
Yeah,
You have to have what's the equivalent? Like, let's say if I'm practicing the 3-point, whatever. What's the jiu-jitsu equivalent? Like, what's the ball? What's the hoop? What am I trying to get done? Okay, what's in the way? Okay, how can I deal with that? Okay, that worked. Why?
Yeah.
Can I if you just But we could all be world champions by now if we had just analyzed all the data from our rolling till now, stopped repeating our dumb mistakes, and kept doing the things that we were doing that were good.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like when we train and stuff, like, of course we'll go in, we'll drill the techniques and whatnot, and then we'll spar. But I feel like in particular the guys in our gym who have progressed the most have really had specific goals in mind
Yes.
that they've worked, throughout, maybe a couple weeks or so, right? And it's through their evolution. And we have actually a little group chat where people will take notes and then post the notes in the
Wow.
group chat now, right? Which is fantastic, right?
And that's Seva as well, like you're talking.
Wow.
Genuinely,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get anything out of it.
And it's amazing to see that because, again, for me, I never really tried that, right? I came into the gym and thought, okay, cool, I'm going to try and win the rounds, basically, very, very much like, okay, cool. It's very ego driven here.
Just wants to be at white belt.
You still, he still does that, by the way. He's acting like he doesn't do that anymore. He still does that.
I'm a lovely guy.
I was telling you guys in the car that guy was his third day, you know? Like day 3, here's 3 foot sweeps. See, it's fine.
He's never trained since.
After that, poor guy.
So tomorrow, you got a fight tomorrow.
I have a match.
You got a match.
That's
So
what I'm thinking now. Like, even now that I'm thinking that now it's a ticking time clock till I'm getting in the cage.
yeah.
I'm like, what is this jiu-jitsu stuff to be worried about? Like, well, what am I? I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to tap? Like, this guy could cave my head in, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you don't realize it, but to you it's so normal now. But you're going in to a setting where the guy is gonna try to break your leg. He's gonna try to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
But whereas you're not gonna see it like that. You're gonna see it like, okay, I'm just gonna do what I do every day.
Well, that's it. Like we said, the self's not gonna be there. So the Bobby that's talking to you, answering your questions, that's not gonna be the Bobby that's making the decision.
Wow.
Hopefully, those are like trained responses.
Who's gonna be
Just-
Banda Bahadur Singh?
That's it.
That's it.
I had that happen my last match. My last tournament, I did this 16-man bracket, and 4 weeks out, I did a ligament in my knee, and I missed the guy. I'm gonna pull out. And then a few days later, I was just feeling good. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna do it anyway. And then very close to the match, I had like staph on my chest, and I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna pull through. And I get there, and I win my first match, and then one of my opponents also wins his first matches. And he says to me something like, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna da-da-da. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why are you're like, I'm like 4 or 5 years older than you. Why are you? And I'm not been sitting on my hands the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, and I was like, you know what? I said it to the people from my dad's band. I was like, bro, I don't care if I guess I need to finish this guy.
Yeah.
And I went, I put my earphones in, and there's a geet of Hari Singh Narua. Sorry, you know Hari Singh, Akali Baba Phula Singh ji. Swodar das surma bichinu murdan. And I just sat down. I listened to that song over and over again till it was my time to walk out. And that's why I went when I tapped him.
Is that
I
the guy you choked out?
That's when I was
Jumped on the guy's shoulders.
Yeah, that was it.
because I was mad. I was like, "How dare you?"
I was wondering, like, what was so special about that match? Like, you were so happy.
Because I was like,
Because he's trying
so hyped.
You're gonna come up to me. You're gonna talk shit. You're gonna like that's outrageous.
It was like, I saw at the end. Obviously, this is probably some of the details you go through in your seminars. But you when you finish it, you're training like that.
What-
Tell us about that.
That comes from there's a Bas Rudin story where some fat guy with a bunch of like attractive women came into one of his classes, and whatever he would say, one of the women would just put in like a bit of a heckle. Like he'd be like, "This is an armbar," and she'd be like, "I just bite your leg," and he whatever. He didn't say anything. He's like, "Great, Bas Rudin, great champion, great all-round martial artist." And finally, he's showing a rear naked choke, and he's like this is a rear naked choke, and she goes, "Well, I'd just poke you in the eyes," and he's like, "Excuse me?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'd poke you in the eyes," and he goes, "All right, this is what we're gonna do." He goes, "I'm gonna start with a rear naked choke on you." He goes, "I'm gonna start with a rear naked choke on you," and he goes, if your fingers come anywhere near my eyes, I'm gonna break you." And I thought about that. I was like, he's right. Someone's got a hold of your neck, and they just forget about just twist and turn, bend it. That's your neck. That's their whole body.
You can kill someone by just snapping their neck, right?
That's a bad thing.
That's crazy. People
Look
say,
at a tiger. First thing it does,
Yeah.
grabs your
Yeah.
freaking neck. You know, so vulnerable.
I feel like people very much underestimate again, like we mentioned, the power of just 6 months in jiu-jitsu,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like being able to completely control another human being, and they cannot do anything to you. Again, I don't know where maybe this ego comes from a lot of other people who don't train, but they just think they can, you know, I see red and that's it, man. You know, it's game over for you, lad.
See
You
red,
know,
guys.
it's ridiculous. Like, where do you think that comes from for most people?
Ego,
There's
innit?
a Punjabi banda. I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, story time.
I'm not gonna say his name and stuff, but he's in the news, this fella. He walked into one of our. I was like 18. He walked into one of our sessions at Absolute Giles' gym, and this guy, real rude guy, but like my first interaction with him, like he's got a little pajangi, and I went up to he had the thing had a juda, and I was just talking to the kid, and as soon as the dad came over, it was just bad energy. This guy's telling me how much money he makes, and I'm like, fuck, and he's got some goody with him and stuff. And I'm like, poor kid, whatever, all good. So then he comes into the class and whatever. And it was a bit rude. I didn't say anything. And I'm just sitting on the mats. I've just done a hectic jiu-jitsu class. And he starts like lightly kicking my shin. And he's like, you feel the power? And I'm like, what?
What the?
And he goes, you got to stop grappling. Like, you got to learn to strike and this and that. And I'm like, striking is great. He does karate. He can't even strike. You know? but anyway, he was just like paid for privates with like the fighters and stuff. And he goes, yeah. He's like, I was working security on weekends. And I'm like, I'm doing jiu-jitsu just fine to people. And he was like, nah, I've owned security companies. I'm like, I don't know what this has to do with anything. You know, I'm talking about actual. He goes, well, if we had a fight, he said to me, he goes, I'd knock you out. And I wasn't laughing. And I stood up. I'm like, look, put on your gloves, you try to knock me out, and I'll try to do jiu-jitsu. And I'm still laughing. And he comes back over, and he swings like a haymaker. And just from I was like, whoa, what the heck? Like, before I even know what's going on, I've double-legged him, I've mounted him. But then as I mounted him, I'm like, this guy just actually tried to hurt me. Like, this wasn't...
That's crazy.
So I don't even, like, sub him. I just keep smothering him and until he's like, oh, get off me, you know? And then I'm like, get up. I'm like, maybe that was a fluke. Let's do it again. So we do it again. And then the third time when we start, I just lie on my back. I'm like, you want to start like this? And he's like, no, I don't want to do this. So I get up and he goes, oh, I think I need to learn how to grapple.
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
hallelujah, that's what we were trying to get.
Yeah.
Yes, you know? And we walk off the mat and he says to me, but if it was on concrete, I would have done.
Oh.
And I'm like, then I just realized, I'm like, this guy's not a rational actor. I'm like a little kid. I'm a 65-year-old kid. I've destroyed him. Multiple, and he just can't. So I'm like, you're right, buddy. You know? I'm like, yeah. So he walks out, and the receptionist goes, do you know who that guy is? I'm like, no. Googles him. This guy killed his dad or paid someone to kill his dad.
Oh my god.
He was some banda in some country trying to do something, living off his parents. Parents cut him off. So then he paid someone to kill his dad. Yeah. And then his mom let him in on the whole shebang with the money and that, and he used that money to like do the legal case and shit.
Whoa.
So then he tells one of the fighters, he goes, Bobby jumped me. He goes, I came out there, Bobby jumped me. Tell Bobby I'm gonna put a bullet in him. Yeah.
Still alive and breathing today.
We're getting death threats over
Bro, I had
Sandu.
to like change my roots and shit. I wouldn't stand at the door anymore. I would stand inside the club.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened since though, right?
Now we had some friends talk to them. And we,
Oh, okay, blessed it out.
That's the best example of a C-Red.
Yeah, that's a hard one to get away from, isn't it?
So what's your? Do you have any pre-match rituals when you go out to fight?
Yeah, so I like to listen to Chandi Diwar.
Wow.
There's like a Kirtan Rupi version
Yeah.
that I'll listen to.
Yep.
And then just not treat it any different to any other day. You know, it's just another. There's nothing special about.
Yeah.
I saw that when I'd compete in John Dennis's gym. Like it would just be a normal gym environment, class ending, people coming out suddenly. It turns into a competition. There's a competition. All these people's hopes, whatever fears, this and that. And then the competition is over, and then it just goes back to being a gym. It's all just it's a natak. Again, it's just all illusion. It's not, there's no difference. It's all the same. There's nothing special. There's nothing crazy. It's just all theatrics.
Because I know John mentions, again, like your competition is exactly like training should be. But I feel like, of course, to get in that mindset, it's a lot tougher than what it appears to be. Like, of course, you know, Gordon's done it, you know, Giancarlo, like all those guys at New Wave and I guess Kings now, right? They all are able to do this. But I suppose, is that how you treat matches? Just like it's
I think
sparring and
just
training?
volume. Yeah, you think you have a lot of matches. Of course, you might want to do a real extra hard warm up. Make sure you get a good sweat on. You know, injury prevention. The whole G'ing up thing. Look, it works for some people. Some people want to be calm. My last match, obviously, like I listened to some Tan McGeets. I did get a little bit emotional. I think it's based off of the rule set, your opponent's weaknesses, your strengths. You keep those three things in light. You pick what techniques and what you're gonna do in the lead up based off of those three factors.
And what techniques or what weaknesses rather do you see from your opponent tomorrow?
I don't know anything about him.
Okay.
I don't know nothing. I saw he toe holded a guy.
You toe holded the guy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, leg locks are my weakness. So.
I'll go through some toe hold
Nice.
He's getting you back in a couple hours now.
He's got a few targets today.
I suppose what you're gonna finish the guy with tomorrow?
I don't know. But probably a heel hook. I think.
Yeah,
Serious?
really?
I do inverted heel hook. Come up with my right arm.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. He's calling it.
now.
He's calling it live on the
last
podcast.
time I said it, I called a submission. The guy submitted me.
What's your celebration gonna be?
Celebration. I should lock in a little bit. I got 10 days to be a top team.
Yeah.
So that's a big opportunity. It's a massive team. They're also just, you got to come correct to these sessions. It's very different. There's no complacency. You got to be on the mats on time, have all your shit together. So
Everyone looks quite professional when they're training there as well, right?
Yeah.
Like Leroy Murphy's just come out of there as well.
Yeah.
Well, he's been training there for a while, but of course, you know, big names.
yeah,
Louis Scott, I think, or Lee Scott, Lewis McGrillen as well.
McGrillen.
Something.
Lightning
Lewis
Louis, yeah, he trained with
Yeah.
Liam Harrison, so great striking.
Wow,
Beautiful
that's
striking.
right.
Yeah, you know he's a G. Yeah, there was one guy from Manchester top team. I think when we shot a few videos with Kiru, and he followed us on Instagram. I was like,
Oh, it's wicked.
Yeah, I looked at it. I was like Lewis Lightning. I was like, wicked, someone that trains at top team. Then I see someone from top team a few months later has gone into the UFC. I'm like, let's check this guy out. And it's the guy that followed
Same
us.
guy, yeah. Oh, he smashed his UFC contender
What you were
series.
saying earlier, like asking me about the MMA stuff, those two gyms is a good indication of that. I feel like if I, at top team, you know, being the real striking focus, that would be like the adding the new skills.
Yeah.
And then next gen, they're very good at getting jiu-jitsu guys to become MMA fighters and doing jiu-jitsu in MMA. It's like, that's more if I just wanted to try to make my stuff already now effective. But I feel like you do both. Like, ideally, if I could go between both gyms, do a month,
Yeah.
that would be insane.
Because you're here for what, in Manchester for 10 days, right?
So I'm here for Manchester 10 days. I want to do a 4-week camp in the lead up to Euros back at Los Bandidos.
Nice.
And then I've got another 15 days before I have to leave the country. So I don't know. I could go to Germany, see Dima. Honestly, I don't even want to think about it till then.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll see how I feel. I might go back to next gen or wherever.
Well, one question I want to ask is, how do you support yourself being, you know, I guess a professional jiu-jitsu athlete and MMA athlete, you know, coming up, you know, how does, you know, money, income play a big factor in what you do and where you go?
Yeah, look, it is tough. Obviously, you're making money competing is like the hardest route. And then teaching wise, but then that's the catch-22 between, for most athletes is like, let's say even if you're doing seminars where you're making a lot more money like for the time and effort than you would in any other way of teaching. Now what's happening is the times that are the best people are training, you're teaching. So it's going back to short term you're making money, but long term you're not going to be as skilled as you could be. So that's where you essentially need some kind of sponsorship or support, unless you could do something online, you know? Like I've got an online instruction with Athletes Ocean, but people have, like we said, school.com. They're doing other like online learning platforms.
Yeah.
Do you want to put any links in?
Yeah, it's you can get mine off my Instagram link.
What's the Instagram?
Bobby Sandhu BJJ.
There we go.
For Gore, I've always got to be like Bobby Sand. HQ.
Yeah.
He was some Irish revolutionary, the IRA guy, Bobby Sands, did a hunger strike.
Oh, really? Well, that in the IRA.
I look like I'm doing a hunger strike.
He can still kill all of us anyway, so it's fine. It's not a problem.
But I have that. I remember like working the door. Guys would walk past and be like, "Your security?"
Little do they know.
Bro, I used to like grab people's jackets, cross the lapel choke.
Wow. Did you have, what was like one of your biggest incidents that would be cool
Bro, I
to,
had
to share?
so many. Because I was like real insecure, so I
Yeah.
would be like
Mm.
Try to prove yourself.
all the time. Yeah.
Tell us one of your stories that you wouldn't mind sharing.
Man, there's like two like the top ones. One was
Yeah.
the guy who I crossed the lapel choked a bunch.
Yeah.
He had a blazer on, and I did like at least like X choke, and then I
Nice.
I grabbed his collar and his belt, and I was doing mad gun. I was like, so I was like dragging him, and then taking him out, and then he would wake up, and then I would lean him against my knee like this, and then back choke him. So I'd be standing, he'd be sitting, leaning against my knee, and I would strangle him again, and I switched him on and off like an iPhone like 3
Are
times.
you using the blazer?
Quick succession. Sorry.
Using the
No,
blazer?
no.
Oh, that was just a really.
First, I mounted him,
Hmm.
so there was actually some weirdness happened because I would get good wrestling positions, but I didn't have the strength to finish him.
Oh,
So I often end up like half guard and just wrestle up from underhook. Because they're drunk people. And whatever. It was mostly bar like 18-year-olds and stuff. In Australia, like no one ever. It was never like 2-on-1 or guns or knives or anything.
That's
Towards
good.
the end, one of my last fights, I fought like a grade 1 rugby player, and he punched my face. And after that, I was like, I should learn how to box.
I
should
Those guys are big.
Oh my god, it was rough. But there was that time, and then another time, there was a banda who got a bunch of drinks, and didn't want to pay for the drinks. So he's upstairs, he's holding them, and my thing was like never touch someone if they have a glass in their hands. So then I waited. There was a Kara who was my housemate, and we were tight. His name was Dane. We were good friends, and I got him doing comedy, jiu-jitsu. We're living together. He was doing all the things I was doing, and Dane grabbed his hand, so he had a hold of the glasses.
Oh.
So I just standing rear naked. I was undefeated. I would pretend like I wasn't even working security. Standing rear naked choke out of nowhere. But as we start falling, I noticed he wasn't basing. He has no like jiu-jitsu instinct. So I let go, I base, and I land on mount on him. And when I'm on mount on him, he actually starts reaching down. I was like, what's he reaching? He was trying to grab my like groin.
Oh.
And then I grabbed his wrist. I pinned his wrist, and he panicked. He just turned, and he turns. And I locked in a rear naked. I slept him, and then I get up. And, people looking at me. There's like a table of girls. I'm like brushing my, like doing this. I'm putting my beanie back on.
That's the best thing.
But the banda was slept, right?
Yeah.
But he comes back too, and I'm too busy still like admiring my work.
Yeah.
And he just grabs Dane's leg and stands up. So he essentially does a wrestle up,
Oh, wow.
the low single, like without understanding it. And they were standing at the foot of these stairs. So Dane and this guy just start falling down the stairs. Yeah. I won't say what happened next, but Dane ended up on top of this guy, and Dane kneed the shit out of him. He put his head next to a beer keg. I just remember hearing the bang bang, like his knee would hit the guy's head, and then his head would hit the keg. So I stopped like wrestling the guy and said I had to wrestle Dane off of this guy. And then we went outside. This guy's head was leaking blood, and
Wow.
the cops came and threatened to take my license. I was scared that day.
Wow.
It's a wild story. There must be so many more, but that's
Yeah,
That's why you need to learn jiu-jitsu.
I gotta learn the statute of limitations before I I get a lawsuit out of you.
Where would you rank the 5 best submissions?
The 5 best submission.
Mo-
Number 1 submission, back strangle.
Yeah.
Rear naked choke.
If you can pin everyone in the world, not be pinned by anyone in the world, and have a back choke, you're golden. You don't need anything else. Number 2 submission. It depends. For pure jiu-jitsu, some kind of leg lock.
Okay. Fine.
For fighting still, probably like a front, like a guillotine.
Okay.
Because chokes are better than joint locks. Then if you get into joint locks, I mean, you could go through all the strangles. Or would number 3 be armbar? It's just, I think a head arm strangle. Because I like an armbar, you're sitting off of the guy.
Yeah.
But there was a guy I was training with at Los Benitez, 50 years old, Big Dave. He armbars. He says he's 100% with his armbar. I felt it. It was, he was just he had a C grip on my wrist while he was demonstrating, And after like a couple of minutes, I couldn't even have him hold a C grip on my wrist.
It was just powerful squeeze.
It's that powerful. Like the last 25 years, he's one of Hodges. There was 2 guys there that Hodges been in the country 20 years. They've been with Hodges for like 19 years. And
Is this Big Dave from Roger Gracie
Dave
in
yeah.
at the headquarters,
Yeah.
Kensington?
Yeah.
I've heard so many things about this guy online. People have said this guy is just so, like, he's unknown to most people, but when so many high level guys have sparred with him, and he's just different.
Killed everybody.
He's different.
Yeah.
I think that's the same guy. It must
Yeah. Oh, it is.
be.
What?
Yeah, Big Dave from Roger Gracie. I've heard about.
Bro, there's so many people out there. I've met like 50-year-old retired cops that like were tapping me and Joseph Chen from like bottom side control.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
You just get this unknown.
But dunia pare to pare, bro. Serious.
That's
How many
insane.
rungs there are? There's crazy things going on.
There's levels too.
Remember that Senegalese wrestler who came out and just beat Bushesha? Who knows how many fenders out there, what kind of fucking surme they got, bro?
So true.
Just freaking, who knows?
That's so true. Yeah, but Shasha's got into MMA now. He's the.
I see all the MMA fighters, the jiu-jitsu guys going to get KO'd, killed, blood.
He's the
carnage.
big one. He came into the UFC. Oh god, he was a heavyweight. He'd been doing pure jiu-jitsu for most of his life. I forgot.
Heavyweight.
Yeah, big heavyweight. I think he faced Gordon Ryan as well. He was like Pedro Mourinho size, but he was like quite old school. I've forgotten the name.
Was it Orlando Sanchez?
Oh no, that was the Sean Strickland interaction, wasn't it? Yeah, no.
But he fought MMA too, I want to say.
Did he fight
I
MMA
might be
too?
wrong.
I don't know. I don't know if he did, but yeah, I mean, his ADCC against Nicky Rod was crazy. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was
That's
insane.
when Nick Rod became Nick Rod.
Yeah.
The Black Belt Slayer.
Black
The
Belt
Black
Slayer.
Belt Slayer, man.
What a name! That's a legendary name.
Insane.
But you're so right though, like that back strangle. I mean, that's exactly what he was known for, right? Literally just head snapping guys, taking their back and just strangling people.
Well, when I went to B team, I was like, everybody here, 66, 77, 88, 99, everybody here's got a good back strangle.
Wow.
Like, there's a reason for that.
Wow. They just drill it every single day, probably, right?
It's also like there's a jab. You teach a jab to someone in their first boxing class, but then it's like, how far can you take that jab? There's like levels on levels to that. That's true of a lot of armbar. Some people develop even the shittest moves. Like I tell people, like 80% of my jiu-jitsu, I try to have it like invested in like sound things, like reliable things. But then 10-20%, I buy a bit of Bitcoin. Got a bit of rubber guard, I got a boom buggy choke or something. So
Yeah.
and you don't know which is gonna be the one. It's like the best weapon is the one that's in hand when you need it.
That's a beautiful motto as well, isn't it? Because I know you, like you were doing and showing beforehand, like the rear naked choke strangle. Like Eddie Bravo was doing that for a while, wasn't he? And he was just going like this the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying that's how like I
Yeah,
perfected a very good strangle.
Squeezy.
Yeah, the squeeze.
Nah, there's a better way. What you gotta do is get somebody very new, like an office worker or someone
It's just
preferably over
bystander
40
It's a
who
bit-
doesn't know what's going on, but someone tough who'll just let you crank on their face. And when you've taken like 10,000 souls, you have a
good strangle.
But there's nothing is the same as a person's face.
Yeah. And you can get it over the face every time. Do you necessarily go under the neck every time, or do you just mandible every
It's just very hard to get underneath the chin of very good people. And like, if you can finish over the face, you can easily finish under.
Yeah.
That's not true of the inverse.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You have to focus the biggest differences between strangling someone over the face. Your elbow position has to be perfect. It has to be very deep, and you need to be able to squeeze for far longer.
Yeah.
So you have to have a very firm figure four.
Yeah.
And like I said, you should try to incorporate the legs and hips and make it a lower body. Like John says that, he goes, just be a leg-centric grappler, period.
Wow. Okay. Because I've seen your rear naked chokes, and you go very like elbow deep, right, and then go like all the way here, which is, I feel like when going for the rear naked, going all the way deep like this, there's always this space here, which is a problem. So I kind of go a little bit here, and then obviously retract that.
That's good for if it's under the chin.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But technically, well, with the mandible,
But over the chin, if you have that same forearm position, the amount of surface area of your forearm that's in contact with the person's face will be very small.
Yeah.
On top of that, you'll be making contact with the front of their face, not the sides of the neck, which is what we want.
Yeah.
You can produce way more force for way longer if you have a very deep elbow, a firm figure four, and you finish with the legs and hips.
And have you felt what it's like with the gable grip as well? Because when I see MMA guys try this, of course the gloves get quite big.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when they try and go behind the head and finish, it becomes a little bit more difficult. And the guy can obviously fight the top hand, and then they'll go gable.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously they've tapped so many people out with that, right? But I mean, have you tried it with just the gloves itself,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
gable grip? Like, how effective
So
is that?
I'll do that if I can't get my head on the opposite side of my strangle arm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll often move my head directly behind if I have trouble feeding. I have a bunch of things that I like to do if I can't feed this hand. The main thing you're looking to do is convex your partner's back. So that really has nothing to do with how you achieve that. There could be a multitude of ways that you actually achieve that.
There's a concept as well. we're speaking about, right?
But you could use that, like whether it's like this or even if it's on the nape of the neck, you could use that to pull the partner and then feed into a standard rear naked.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, we'll try that later.
It definitely has a place, but it's like you could learn 100 things, right? But you got to know what to do when.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say if someone shoots a head inside single on me,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got 10 different techniques I could respond with.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing more techniques isn't better. While I'm going through my 10 finishes, he just has the one that he's really good at. Now your ass is on the floor. Versus, you know what? You shoot a head inside a single on me, I do a fast side Kimura straight away. Why? Could lead me to the back. Why? I'm good at the back. Now, would I change that? Yes. If that guy was very susceptible to leg locks, I would instead counter it with a leg lock entry. Now, would I do a leg lock entry ADCC? No. Why? I'd be on my back. I'd concede points. So then I'd take a whizzer, frame the head, get my leg out. So you understand? Like, again, those three things. My strengths, my opponent's weaknesses, and then the rules of the game dictate behavior, dictate gameplay.
Gotcha. So a lot of it has to do with the little nuances, the timing as well. And again, having that, I suppose, arsenal always present. So whenever the time does come up, you can execute it.
Well, it's like, what knowledge do I have? Like tomorrow, I know nothing about my opponent. So I can't play to his weakness. I can only play to my strengths.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also like, let's say, like, if IBJJF incentivizes you to turtle, but you've got no turtle skills, you've got to be mindful of your weaknesses as well, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel rule set plays a big factor
Of
in
course.
everything, right? Like,
course.
this is why the CJI recently wasn't as exciting, I feel like, as the first one, right? Because again, people were just incentivized to probably either, you know, try and get people out by just stalling or, you know, not actually, you know, being aggressive. Whereas the first one was so exciting. All this action.
Probably
so-
set a very high expectation too of.
Yeah. I mean, do you what kind of rule set do you think plays into your game more so?
EBI.
EBI. Oh, really? Nice. I like that. Have you competed on EBI at all?
No, not on EBI itself.
Okay. Would you like?
Oh, I did the EBI Open. I won that.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was in Austin. When was that? I can't remember. My last trip there was last year, midway through the year maybe. I got back in October to Australia. So
Yeah. And what's
3
the
months
rule
before
set there?
So just sub only, and then if there's no submission, I start on your back.
Gangster, best strangler
So
in the world.
I had a match with this guy who was like a brown belt Worlds medalist. He was like heavyweight, bigger, better, like compared. I'm like, freaking hell, what am I gonna do? I'm like, all right, if nothing happens, I'll start on the guy's back. I'll finish the guy. So I get killed for like 8 minutes, and then I start on the guy's back, and he just chucks me off the back in like 30-40 seconds. He just stands up, peels me off of him like a giant, you know. I'm like, shit. And he starts on my back and he taps me again, 30-40 seconds. And I'm like, okay, cool. You draw a breath. Every new second, every new moment is totally fresh and brand new. Yes, this is a bad example. Yes, you might have made that mistake 10 times in your life, but doesn't mean you have to make it again. And you could have lived the perfect life up until now, and then you just take a random right turn too. So in that moment, I'm like, you know what? I could be like, let me just snap back into it. And I jump back on his back. I tap him in like 10 seconds. I win the match.
Wow.
I lost all except for 10 seconds of that match. But because of the crazy rule set, you know, it's insane. It's insane how these things play.
Yeah, that's exciting though. That's what I feel that will get more spectators to watch jiu-jitsu. The exciting stuff like that, man, you know, because it can change in a second.
Yeah.
You know, but hopefully it becomes a bit bigger and within the UK.
It's
as
getting
well.
bigger and bigger. And seeing so many sings as well.
And
Nowadays taking up jiu-jitsu and they're seeing the beauty of it. But yeah, just as we're about to finish off, like, what message would you give to Sikh Warrior Project viewers? You know, to the Sikh community, just a message to them. It could be anything.
Yeah. Look, just get out there, get involved. You know, so much of life is just putting your body in the right spaces. Go to the guru class, go train, get involved in the community. If you can simplify as much as possible, you know, it's like we're talking about mind and body. You know, with your body, it's the actions. With your mind, it's like what do you think and believe. Like, try to do good and just pay attention.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Love that.
Banda Bahadur Singh, also known as Bobby Sandhu. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks so much.
Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
You know, thanks for giving us your single.
Boys, honestly, appreciate you guys driving me up here. You know, the support.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
brother. Honestly, brothers like yourself, you know, we got such a great energy off of you as well. You know, it's one thing us trying to make, you know, content showing what you're doing and everything and speaking to you, learning off you. But it's like we obviously all vibe so well as well.
Amazing.
And we're gonna train together now as well. We're
Let's
gonna,
do it.
you know, we'll just learn some things off of you. And yeah, we'll be there for your competition tomorrow as well. We're probably looking forward to that.
Let's do it.
And that's gonna be sick, man. So yeah, let's go. Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh.
So guys, yeah, so that's the end of the podcast. Obviously, if you want to see more content like this, we do vlogs, we do podcasts, and yeah, just drop us a subscribe, give this video a like.
Guys, subscribe to the Sikh Warrior Project if you want to see more content like this. Like, follow the page.